Welcome back, guys. In today's video, we take a look at the new army of Riqirez, who was world champion in 2025, and he's using the Lalo army. So as you can see here, he tripled in esports mode. We'll also check out that attack, but first let's check out some legend hits. So this is the first attack Rick shared with me, and as you can see here, he's attacking a very familiar name. He's attacking Gaku in Legends. And as you can see here, we have the army, the Lalo army. He has 3 Ice Hounds. He has the 34 Loons. Then he has some Inferno Dragons, which you will see how he's using them in that attack. And he is starting off with the Royal Champion Charge. He told me that he has experimented a little bit with like different openings, different combinations, different heroes as well, and also different equipment. So you will see a different variety of pretty much similar style attacks. As you can see here, he started with the Royal Champion Charge at 4 o'clock, going towards 5 o'clock, taking down that Monolith, taking the heavy damage of the Giga Bomb, and just going through that to get that value, knowing that that's very likely not going to be trapped. Then he uses the Dragon Duke at 5 o'clock, one Inferno Dragon, to help with the cleanup there. And the main push of the Lalo starts from 7 o'clock with the Warden, and also with some of those Ice Hounds. He uses the ability to keep those loons safe against the air bombs in the core. Uses the Overgrowth to make sure the Revenge Tower and that Fire Spitter don't cause so much trouble to his troops. And as you can see here, he's now approaching the Town. He uses the Totem to make sure the Tonal Guardian is not causing so much damage. Uses a perfect freeze on that Super Wizard Tower and the multi towards 11. And now the Overgrowth has worn off. He uses the Minion Prince ability to push through the backside. And as you can see now, he also used the Dragon Duke ability. He still has a Poison, a Revive spell. And at this point, he still has some backhand loons he can drop in. He uses some for the Wizard Tower. Here you can see really nicely how he spreads them out so they don't get all that splash damage at once. And here completely overpowers the space by Gaku. And he just takes this apart with Lava Loon, which is not something I really expected and had on my bingo chart or card for 2026 with so much splash in the base. But it's really cool to see this Lalo working. Alright, welcome back to the next replay, and here you can see Riqirez hitting Anakin, and here you can see a double rage base. There is 2 rages. It's pretty much a teaser base, which means the Town Hall is towards 9 o'clock, and then a lot of damage is pointed towards that direction, which just means in the end that if you enter into the Town Hall, you're gonna have a lot of damage facing you. So they basically want you to go the opposite side. But Riqirez is just going to charge that one Rage Tower at 6 o'clock, taking down that value around it. And now the Royal Champion is going to die off, but then he starts his Lalo right into the 9 o'clock side, grabbing all that value. Here he actually doesn't end up getting the Fire Spitter, but he nonetheless starts from the 8 o'clock side, 9 o'clock side. There's a logger on the Town Hall. The Guardian is the logger, so uses a totem to distract it, just making sure the log is not causing too much harm. Here you can see he uses the ability early to make sure his loons can push through the Town Hall area, get to that Monolith and take down these buildings. He now uses the Overgrowth for that second Fire Spitter. The bottom one is taken down by the Dragon Duke. And as you can see here, the Dragon Duke is now going through the base, taking down the Lava Launcher, and then next up going for the Dark Elixir storage using the stun ability. The stun ability unfortunately doesn't reach to the Revenge Tower, so it dies off to the Revenge Tower. But now you can see there's a lot of loons still left. He still has a Revive spell, he still has the Minion Prince ability, uses his freeze for the multi and the Scatter Shot. And now he's pretty much on the backside of the Fire Spitter, so he doesn't have to worry about the Fire Spitter at all. His troops are just gonna go behind it and take everything out. And as you can see now, it's pretty much just that Revenge Tower left. There's still one multi-archer tower and also that Air Expo, but he brings back the Dragon Duke. The Dragon Duke is going to take care of that Air Expo. And at this point, it's just the Revenge Tower left, the multi-gear cannon, and that multi-archer tower. But there's still a couple loons left, the Dragon Duke, the Minion Prince, and also these Inferno Dragons. And these Inferno Dragons, their use is also to cause a lot of damage. As you obviously know, they charge up and cause a lot of damage over time, so they can help with the cleanup, but they also help with the heroes, so that's why they're very valuable. Now we can see Rick attacking Diego, who's also a very known esports player. He plays for Tompenai Empire, or now known as Team Electros. That's what the TE stands for. And yeah, he is using a double rage base. And Rick actually uses the King here. He uses the Dragon Duke with the Spirit Fox also for a little charge. So he's switching it up here a little bit, trying different approaches. And as you can see here, he also uses the Electro Fangs on the Dragon Duke, using that to charge, which is basically doing the same job than what the Electro Boots on the Royal Champion did. So here you can see he does the charge with the Electro Boots, with the Electro Fangs, and yeah, he just gets a lot of value. Dragon Duke is just going and still alive, and now he starts the Lalo where the Dragon Duke is, to make sure the Dragon Duke actually stays alive and gets even more value. So really nicely done. The Lalo's pushing now through the Tunnel side at 12 o'clock, and he just makes sure he gets through the Tunnel Guardian using the Overgrowth on the air bombs, the Rage Tower, and those defenses around it. There's still the Revenge Tower there, which he wants to take down now, and his troops are approaching the Dragon Duke with the Inferno Dragons and some of the Loons. The remaining Loons are now coming in from the 9 o'clock side, and the Ice Hounds are tanking really nicely, taking up all these air traps and also freezing the defenses, in this case now the Monolith, which are nearby. He uses the Minion Principality in the core of the base, where the Rage Tower has popped once the Overgrowth wear off, and now it's just about getting through those Rage Towers, which is still quite scary. There's a Scatter Shot at 6 o'clock, which causes so much damage, but he has really good timing and can just overpower it. Now there's the multi-arch tower left at 6 o'clock. The air bombs in the core have been taken out. At this point you can see there's plenty of cleanup. There's always so much cleanup, and yeah, he just takes down the last buildings and gets the 100%. Let's take a look at Riqirez hitting an anti-2. As you can see here, the air bombs are in the core of the base, the Revenge Tower is towards 12, and there are 2 Rage Towers. So he is now starting with the Dragon Duke at 9 o'clock, once again doing the Electro Fang charge, using the Spirit Fox to support, with pretty much the same mechanic as the Royal Champion charge. You cycle between Invis and the Spirit Fox Invis. Here he used his King at the 6 o'clock side to basically set up the funnel. Didn't completely work out. The Royal Champion is still a little bit going towards the 7 o'clock side. Let's see where he's going to go next. He unfortunately goes down. That's not really what he wanted. He wanted to charge that Rage Tower at 9 o'clock. But as you can see here, the Dragon Duke is still going strong. The Spirit Fox unfortunately left the hit and unfortunately died off. But here the Lalo is now started with the Dragon Duke entering right into that Monolith from 5 o'clock. You can see here he uses the Eternal Tome of the Warden very early to protect against those Monolith shots and also against the Air Bomb and the Tunnel Guardian. The Sky Wagon is just so strong. I would definitely recommend you using it. Even with ground attacks, you can combine it really nicely, but especially with air attacks, it just helps so much with cleanup and overpowering all these heroes, the Clan Castle troops, the Tunnel Guardians, etc. All these little troops supporting and coming out of the Skywagon are so useful. And then obviously if you bring nice Clan Castle troops, it's even more valuable. And here you can see he's all now overpowering the remaining defenses. The Rage Tower gets triggered at 9 o'clock, which is pretty much the biggest threat left, next to the Tunnel Guardian, which is still alive in the core. But as you can see, there's the Minion Prince. He still has the revive spell, and the Dragon Duke is still alive, so he doesn't even need to revive it at this point. There is some rage defenses at 9 o'clock, but the Dragon Duke with the Electro Fangs is doing so much damage, taking down these buildings. He now revives him and brings him back, and now as you can see, there is not really much left. Those 2 air expos don't stand a chance against the Electro Fangs and also those Inferno Dragons. And yeah, he just gets the next triple. Alright, now let's take a look at Rick's hit in the Clash Arena War. I will link you Clash Arena below if you're not aware what this is, but it's basically a bot where you can do practice wars in esport modes, and it's a competitive elo-based matchmaking. And Rick is playing this with some of his friends, and as you can see here, he's using the army we've just seen in Legends. He's doing a charge with his king at 5 o'clock and the Dragon Duke then from 7 o'clock, using the cycle, the invis cycle of the Spirit Fox and the invis spells, and causing a lot of damage with the Electro Fangs, pretty similar to the Royal Champion with the Electro Boots. You can see he's now starting the Lalo once again quite early, just protecting that Dragon Duke, using totems to distract that Tonal Guardian to make sure that the Dragon Duke stays alive, because it has so much value with the Electro Fangs going into the base with the Lalo. Here you can see uses the Overgrowth on the backside, just making sure there's less damage in the core, making sure that Monolith doesn't cause so much harm to his army. You can see now the Inferno Dragons target on the Tonal Guardian, so they're going to take it down, then also take down the Tonal, and then once the Overgrowth wears off, they can take down that Monolith. And here he gets a little bit lucky with the rage getting triggered with the loons already. At the point where the remaining loons from 12 o'clock come towards that section, the rage is not going to be so much of a factor. The biggest threat now is that one scatter shot at 9 o'clock, but as you can see, there's still Lalo going. He still has a revive spell. The minion principality is very strong, and he now revives the Dragon Duke. The Electro Fangs are going to work again, and there's still a lot of Lalo left. When Ice Hound, the last Ice Hound pops, he uses some backend loons to help with the cleanup, and as you can see here, he completely overpowers the space. And yeah, it's just a really overpowered hit, taking down these buildings, even though it's esport modes, which is even harder than Legends 1, where he's still crushing it. And yeah, really great hit from Riqirez. And now we are lucky and we get to see a live hit from Riqirez in a Clash Arena war against Black. I believe that's the clan of Name, who's also a very known esports player for Carry Esports. Here you can see he does a Royal Champion charge at the 1 o'clock side, just charging in for that Rage Tower, using the invises to make sure his Royal Champion gets the maximum value. As you can see here, he doesn't bring the king now, so there's this one army where he uses the Royal Champion and does a charge with her, or he uses the Dragon Duke and does a charge with the Dragon Duke, but then he uses the king to funnel. So those are the two options he primarily uses at the moment. Here you can see he charges in for that Rage Tower, starting now with the Lalo at 12 o'clock, using the Dragon Duke there, and then also using Inferno Dragons to help with the funnel. The Lalo goes then in from the 10 o'clock side, just entering into that base. The first Ice Hound pops, bringing a perfect freeze over those buildings, and now his Lalo can push through the backside of the base. At 9 o'clock he brings one heal to make sure his loons stay alive and healthy. He is now behind the second fire spitter after he took down the first fire spitter. So that's perfect, and one thing you can see here with the heal, it perfectly counters that Super Wizard Tower, which are very, very strong. Now the back-end Rage Tower gets triggered. The biggest threat here is still that Scattershot. The Rage Scattershots are so scary, it's always something to look out for. He still has the Minion Principality, he still has a totem which he will need for the Townhall Logger, and then he has the Revive spell for the Dragon Duke once the Dragon Duke goes down. But as you can see here, it looks very good. He uses some backend loons at 4 o'clock just to make sure he gets nicer through that area. Uses the minion principality to stun all these buildings in his way. And as you can see here, he is completely smashing it, taking down the last buildings. There's still the Tonal Logger alive, but that's pretty much it. The last Teslas are not going to stop this hit, and the Ricochet Cannon can target air. So the Minion Prince and the other air troops are just going to take everything down. He can actually even bring back the Royal Champion in the end to speed up the time, make the hit even faster. The Royal Champion is going to target the last Tesla. And then with the gold storage, he gets the next triple. Really nice to see this hit live. And yeah, I hope you learned something from this. It's definitely not something everyone can do. I would definitely recommend practicing this a lot before using it in an esport match or even Legends. And yeah, I still hope you had a lot of fun with this video. Definitely stay tuned. If you do want lessons from Riqirez, definitely check out the coaching in RH Basebuilding. You can do a session with him, and otherwise see you around, and Iron